Welcome back, folks. It's a new episode. We've got ratings, we've got streaming deals, we've got maybe even a little burlesque in this episode. Got a lot to cover this time around this week on Wrestling with Business. Let's get it going.
You heard it here, folks. Our Divas champion, Matt the Professor Lambert, will be doing a burlesque show at the end this time. That's one of his honorary opportunities. Okay, just kidding. Not actually going to do that.
And watch the views go down.
We've got a lot of stuff going on this week. We're going to talk about Crown Jewel. That's going to be the main event. We're also going to talk about ratings changes, talent. There's some news and rumors we got to talk about. Big news in the world of deals. Actually, let's start with that one. So a lot of shuffling going around. It seems like with these deals, there's a lot of hurry up and wait. We haven't talked about this one in quite a while, actually. The deals haven't been hot, although I am still holding my prediction that ESPN is not going to be anywhere near a deal.
With WWE?
Yeah.
I can see that.
You could see what? Them not being anywhere near a deal?
I can see them not being a player anymore.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. We should revisit that then.
I mean, I with everything going on with ESPN now, like you're hearing more and more. They're obviously ESPN. I think is more focused on their actual self. You know.
Well, Disney trying to repair.
Well, yeah, they announced their financials the other day. ESPN's now valued at like $24 billion. They said it could be so, and I think they're trying to get into the whole streaming market, which they're trying to find a partner like Apple or Amazon. So I kind of think they're just too busy on the broader picture. Where I don't think they're going to be spending any money on WWE rights. That's just maybe unless WWE gives them or TKO, I should say, gives them a great deal. I think they're probably out of that picture now.
So I'm going to redirect here. This is from Wrestle Talk. WWE recently announced a new deal with NBC Universal and the USA Network that will see SmackDown leave Fox for the USA Network in 2024. Mm-hmm. So very interesting. One of the things we talked about previously was like unifying the products on one, pulling it out of Fox, right into one channel, kind of unifying things together. USA landing SmackDown has led to speculation about where NXT and Raw may end up next year, as well as AEW's upcoming media rights deals. Now, interesting topic on AEW. This was announced earlier today. Can't come to a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery on the whole kit and caboodle, right? So that's pay-per-view, television rights, and the Ring of Honor and AEW library. So that looks like it's kind of disappeared.
Right. We talked about it just last week where we mentioned the Max deal because it's been floating around and there was no set date for it.
It seemed like a sure thing. I mean, it seemed like a slam dunk.
And I think Ring of Honor was never up. They have their own streaming.
Yeah, they're kind of off to the side. It's just the
Club.
Library they're talking about.
Right now, go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying.
Right now, in the market of live entertainment and live sports, there's a lot of things at play. And what I mean by that is we just talked ESPN and Disney, not to get too far off topic, but one of the partners ESPN's looking at to buy out a minority stake is NFL or NBA to actually buy ESPN. Now that changes everything, right? Warner Brothers, TNT, they are heavy in the NBA rights.
Yeah, that ties up a lot of cash.
Well, so here's the thing. If they're not, and the reason why, and it's being, the way I kind of Fightful kind of made a statement saying that one of the reasons why Universal NBC Universal didn't get the full package is that they're trying to get the NBA rights on the USA Network. Now, if that happens, guess who loses those rights?
Warner
TNT.
TNT.
Warner. Yeah. So that now changes the whole dynamic. Where if they're losing the NBA rights, what do you think they're going to invest more in?
The only other live television that's
so
up.
Maybe it's not so much Warner Brothers saying no as AEW is like, well, wait a minute. We're going to hold up because if you're going to be relying on us more in 2 years, we're going to want a lot more money and we're going to become a lot more valuable than what we're being ranked at right now. So I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think it's so much Warner Brothers saying no. I bet you AEW know. AEW is well aware of the rights and what's going on.
But does AEW have the power to do that?
Why wouldn't they? This is where the power.
Warner Brothers could just say, if you don't want to work with us, then go find somebody else to work with.
See, this is where I think if NBA leaves Warner Brothers, AEW just has a lot in their hand. They now control everything. If you're Warner Brothers, what are you going to do? If you're Warner Brothers,
Yeah,
you cannot
well-
afford to lose NBA and AEW. You can't, unless you have a whole plan that you haven't revealed in the back that you're going to announce, and that you're just going into movies. But, like...
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to set something up with one of the other MMA promotions. So, yeah, basically you've got MLB. That's really all that you've got as far as, like, live sports is concerned. So I think you have a decent point there, and that makes you hungry. Now, that definitely doesn't put AEW in control because their ratings haven't been great. As a matter of fact, when talking about sort of some of the ratings slump that AEW has been dealing with, TNT basically came out and said, yeah, but it really doesn't, we expected it. It doesn't really concern us.
Right.
So I think that you get this interesting balancing act where if the NBA moves away from Warner Brothers Discovery, you kind of have this like, well, all this cash has opened up, but I'm not sure that Tony Khan's leverage is that much better because the ratings really aren't where I think everybody wants them to be. So as a result of that, I think it's a net even. I think you're kind of in the same
you're right and
place
wrong.
to start.
You're right, but the ratings aren't where they should be, right? They're not good. But it's not about ratings. It's about content, and it's about airtime, and it's about fee. Warner Brothers is going to want it doesn't matter. They just want content. That's why they force them to do a second. Okay, if the ratings aren't there, if the ratings aren't there, why are they asking AEW for a second and third show? If Dynamite's ratings aren't there, why are they looking for Rampage and Collision? Because they want the content. They just want to fill the channel. And live sports is a lot cheaper than anything else they can produce. Unless they're just going to have a TV station full of old sitcoms and old movies, they can't. Live sports at the end of the day used to be the cheapest, easiest thing to produce because they're not really producing it, but it's now become the most expensive thing to put out there.
So there's
we've said this from the beginning too. From the very start of AEW, Warner Brothers has said the actual number of the ratings isn't what concerned them.
Right.
They were looking at like 500,000 on average. It was where the show fell on a particular night. If it's in the top 3 for all of cable or whatever, that's all they were really concerned about.
That's a good point. I think that there's a law of diminishing return on whatever strategy you take. And in this instance, you've added 3 shows in the middle of the night, in the middle of the week. You can't add a 4th show. You can't add another hour. You can't. You've already saturated that market. So what I'm saying now is, we care. Let's take Fox for example. Lachlan Murdoch was asked why Fox is no longer going to be carrying SmackDown. And he was very clear with his answer today at the earnings call. He said, we chose not to keep SmackDown because the amount of money that they were asking us to give them for SmackDown didn't match our increase in advertising that we were receiving. We got an 8% bump in increase, and they wanted more than that. Yeah. And it just doesn't make any sense. So people care about the viewers because that's what makes you demand advertising bucks. And if you could charge $50,000 an hour at 1.5 million viewers, you can't charge $50,000 an hour. You're charging, or a unit, you're charging half that or a quarter that.
So I think here's where I think you're a little wrong on that, how they can't adjust to what they already have with AEW. I don't know I'm not a professional in the NBA. I don't know how much they're on TNT. I know they're on quite a bit, but I do think that plays a major role in why Collision is on Saturdays. It's why Rampage is Fridays at 10. Mm-hmm. Because they have NBA. First of all, you and I both know that when you put Dynamite on Wednesday nights or any wrestling show tonight, it has to stay there year round. Hey, even though NBA is not year round, they can't put Collision. Yeah. You can't put Collision on Monday on TNT for 6 months and then take it off for the other 6 months with NBA. So I think if NBA really leaves the picture, I think all of this. I think everything. I think the Raw rights, possibly with ESPN or Disney. I think NBA. I think that right now what the NBA does is what is going to change all of this. If NBA doesn't go to ESPN, ESPN may now leverage to WWE for content. If NBA leaves TNT, that changes everything for AEW. Why not? Look, hang on. You could put now Dynamite stays on Wednesday, right?
Hang on. You're putting the cart before the horse because the NBA contract isn't up until 2025.
When's Warner Brothers?
Next year.
But okay. My point is that Warner Brothers and AEW, Tony Khan is not dumb. He's going to work in the deal that if NBA leaves, they're not going to add on content and not get a change in dollar value.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I'm sure that's got to be worked in.
There's no such thing as a free lunch. But what I'm saying is, if I'm Tony Khan and I already have 2, 4, 5+ hours of content on every week, counting the overages, I don't know that I want to go to 7.
No, but here's the thing. When you say Warner Bros. Is up with AEW next year,
they're trying to get something signed yet next year.
all right. So if NBA is ending in 2025, they're going to announce some point next year what they're doing, at least a year ahead.
Second quarter,
yeah.
probably.
So the fact that they can announce, there's more than enough time for them to be able to announce, and then AEW work out a deal right after that. But see, here's the thing: if NBA leaves, it changes everything. You don't think Dynamite could be 3 hours?
I don't think it'll be as good if they do.
But could they do 3 hours?
They could.
Okay. There's a now your whole Wednesday is booked. Collision couldn't go to Monday nights and be a live 2-hour show. 100% could. 100%.
Why would they want to go up against Raw?
If Raw ends up changing nights, like
if TNT is going to spend the money, why wouldn't they?
That's what I'm saying. But if you're Tony Khan, you're not going to build your strategy you're not going to build your strategy as a response to what your competitor that's 40 times your size is going to do. You're going to try to build your strategy independent so that you're building a fan base that's independent of that fan base.
If I'm Warner Brothers and I just lost NBA, I'm going to call up Tony Khan and I'm going to say, I want the exact hour amount that WWE is putting on Warner Bros. I don't care if it's the same day or not. I want the same hour amount. A 3-hour Dynamite, a live 2-hour Collision on either Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you want to pick. Okay, and we're going to do something with Rampage on Friday. They're going to leverage AEW to fill 3 nights. You understand? That's a lot. 3 nights of their weekly schedule with AEW.
If they do that, AEW will be setting themselves on fire long term.
Money.
Yeah, and they'd be setting themselves on
fire.
Money.
It puts AEW on the map.
Here's what happens.
Do you think? Hang on.
No.
Because Matt sometimes is the middle guy. Does it not put AEW on the map if they sign a multi-$400 million deal? Because that's what we're talking about with 3 nights a week on TNT, Warner Brothers. Do you not think that puts them on the map?
They're there already.
Or TBS.
They already have that, though. They were already speculating that the deal they're going to get is going to be close to $1 billion.
But weekday live, Collision's not live, is it?
Yeah.
Is it live?
Yeah. Rampage is the only tape show.
So, still on the weekdays, that changes a lot. It's going to change a lot. It puts more pressure on rating. Look, let me put it. If you're on a Saturday night show, no one gives a shit what your ratings are. If you're Saturday at 8, 9 o'clock, no one cares. That's why you're there on Saturdays. If Collision moves to a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, not Friday, Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, it changes everything. There's going to put a lot more emphasis on the quality of content, storylines, and quality of that show, because they're now going to be competing for ratings on a weekly basis, weeknights. That changes everything, and they will put more money into that.
Tony Khan does it. He's going to get buried.
I agree, but I mean, if you're Warner Brothers, you have no other choice. What are you going to do? If you just lost NBA rights, you have to fill NBA. I'm pretty sure is like 3 nights a week on
Yeah,
Warner
but that's
Brothers.
not a Tony Khan problem.
It's a Warner Brothers problem,
exactly.
And Warner Brothers that the way they're going to fix that problem is spending money on the other asset that they have, which is AEW live sports.
I mean, they could go to one of UFC's competitors and they could try and put MMA on the screen.
Oh, for sure, but they're not for the same amount of money.
There's more live sports. I'm just saying, if I'm Tony Khan, that's not a direction that I want to go in right now. That's not.
Unfortunately, I think Tony Khan has the ego where he's going to say yes immediately. Tony Khan's not the type of guy to go. You're telling me that Tony Khan's going to go.
This is, in my opinion,
interested.
I don't know that he would repeat the mistakes of WCW. This is very similar to what WCW and Turner did back in the day. They basically.
Meanwhile, Ric Flair's been signed and Big Show's wrestling.
They basically bankrupted each other.
More prime time and more money. He's no way he's gonna say no. We're gonna give you more prime time hours and more money to do it. You're telling me he's gonna say no?
Because what's going to happen is he gets the primetime hours, but he has to wear his big boy pants and go against the big boy competitors.
Oh, for sure.
He's going to get squashed, and then in 3 years and 5 years when the contract's up, the network's going to come back to him and go, you owe us money. We're going to cut the amount of money we're giving you. We're going to put the screws to you because you didn't deliver. We put you in a prime position at a prime time, Prime money. You have no excuse.
But they would be right. They would be right.
Which is why Tony Khan shouldn't take
He's
the
not
deal.
going
He should
to.
stay where
He's
he's
not
at.
going
What
to.
does Eric Bischoff always say? When they gave him Thunder, he didn't want to do it. They
Right.
forced him to do it, and that's what led to WCW
And it's gonna be
dying.
no different. It's gonna be no different. It's gonna be no different. They're gonna force AEW to say, in the world that we are in, even though it may not be right, you can't say no to more primetime hours and more money. You just can't. You just can't say no. You're gonna say no to the only. Let's put it this way. Let's say he says no, and Warner Brothers says, "Well, that's a big F you. Get the F out of here. We don't want you anymore." Where's Tony Khan gonna go?
If Warner Brothers, well, he could start his own streaming service. But
Really?
If
really?
Warner Brothers,
He can't even get a promotion going fully. He needs to go start his own streaming service.
if Warner Brothers can say it as easily as you say, then they must not be as desperate for content as you say that they are.
Right, and they already have a streaming service because Ring of Honor has their own streaming
Yeah, they
service.
can just expand
so they
that.
can just expand that to include AEW.
I don't know.
Let's move on. Brian
That should have been ringing the bell
Danielson.
right there.
Brian Danielson cannot get his shit together.
Every match he's in, man.
He was supposed to retire within the next year or so. It was looking like it was going to be maybe next summer. He announced earlier, and now he's out again. Does this extend his career, or we think we're going to give him time for injury, or
Well,
he cracked his orbital bone?
orbital bone injury. Yep, he just went through surgery. I think this should be a sign to him that either he needs to, if he's going to keep wrestling, he seriously needs to cool it, or he just needs to wrap it up. Because literally every big match he's been in the last 6 months, he gets injured. Broke his arm in that match with Okada
Yeah.
a couple months ago. Yeah, I don't know. And it seemed like he was supposed to take over for CM Punk on Collision, be the top guy there, but
They could move into a GM. He'd be a good GM. Move into a GM type
he
role.
did that in WWE. He was the SmackDown GM. He hated it.
He did hate it.
Well, if he's going to retire, I mean, what other options do you have?
But this is another example.
He's
that-
one that could train.
No, that's true.
This is another example that WWE is right. Why Tony Khan is going after Brian Danielson? What do you think was going to happen? Why do you think he's not with WWE anymore? He's injury prone. We're not going to spend more money on that anymore. Why do you think Tony Khan spent money on CM Punk? Attitude issues. Look what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you do. This is what WWE did in the
Here's
early
next one.
90s,
Here's
in the
the
late
next one.
80s.
You could say what you want about Edge and the reason why he left. Copeland. I'm not even going to call him Edge anymore. Okay? Why he left. But you don't think WWE wasn't offering him a lot of money because he's probably injury prone?
No, I don't think they offered him a lot of money. Oh, you think it's related to injury?
I think, no. When WWE is evaluating their contracts and they're going to say, we can offer him $5 million, we can offer him $2 million, we can offer him $1 million, we can offer him $500,000. Well, we're not going to do $5 million because he's how old?
51.
51. Okay, he
Ish.
can't. No, I'm sorry. When you get to a certain age, I'm sorry, you can't qualify. I don't think for that anymore. There's too much of a risk. And when you're doing any type of contracting, there's risk, right? Risk management can go, we can't justify this $5 million deal. He can get injured tomorrow, and we're fucked.
Should I list all the exceptions to this rule you've
hang
made?
on. But what I'm trying to get at, I'm pretty sure he's going to get injured, Copeland, and he's going to be out. And now they're stuck with it. And this is what AEW is doing. They're taking the people that WWE is having a hard time for various reasons. Okay, Daniel Bryan and WWE could not come to an agreement. And they were like, we don't want you to wrestle anymore. He flew the coop and went over to AEW. Now look what's happening. He's injury after injury after injury. And AEW is spending on it. Okay? Same thing with Ric Flair. There's a reason why Ric Flair's not on WWE television. And AEW will find that out down the road. It's the reason why CM Punk's not on WWE anymore. They found that out. When are they going to learn that there's a reason why these guys aren't staying or going with WWE, and AEW is finding that out in the after fact?
With the exception of CM Punk, I don't know for sure, but I'm willing to bet Edge and Daniel Bryan aren't making as much money as they were in WWE.
No,
Not
probably.
nearly as much.
There's one exception. Chris Jericho. That's the only one. Chris Jericho is the only exception. He's doing what he's done. He doesn't get hurt. He's the only one that, if WWE could, would probably still have.
There are two things that you do when you're trying to build a new promotion and compete with a gigantic behemoth like WWE. The first thing that you do is you focus on the future, which is homegrown talent. And I think we can all agree AEW
Jade Cargill, MJF,
has done a really
Darby
great job
Allin.
of building great products. With really only a couple failures, which we were talking about before we started recording. Sammy Guevara is probably not a great one. Jungle Boy, not a great one. But the rest of them are all homegrown favorites, and they're wonderful.
Cassidy,
the second thing that you do is you eat the levings of the remora, right? You eat the levings of the big shark that you're trailing behind. And that means picking up guys that they don't want for one strategic reason or another, and you use them as best as you can. And sometimes
I agree with that.
And sometimes,
I agree with that.
And sometimes it's an injury issue. So, yeah, knowing that there are inherent risks associated, you could invest a ton of time in a guy like Jungle Jack that doesn't go anywhere, and or Sammy Guevara, and you can adjust a ton of money in a guy like
Are you trying to get me
Punk.
to go off? That's the second time you brought up Sammy Guevara. Like, that's going to get me going, because I completely disagree with you on that statement.
And the other thing is, the AEW guys don't wrestle nearly as much as the WWE guys.
Yeah, there's no dark shows on AEW, and you keep your name, and you have the freedom to go out and wrestle and build your own brand out in the world outside of this promotion. I think as long as you don't go to WWE, but they wouldn't want you anyways. So I'm just saying, like, it's a multi-pronged approach to building a brand that takes an extended period of time. We don't live in the world of the regional promotion anymore. It's not like, you just stay within your own little bubble. You spread your wings and you fly as high as you want to fly. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I think at the end of the day, what AEW is doing is great. It just takes time, and everybody's really super impatient about it. But it's going to work. And yeah, Bryan Danielson gets injured. Okay, that's going to happen. Like, Darby Allin's going to get injured. It doesn't mean that he's not an outstanding homegrown talent.
That's not what my point is. My point is, there's a reason why, to a degree, I'm like, Daniel Bryan just signed with AEW. There's a reason why he's not with WWE.
And AEW is better for having him than not having him.
Well, I agree.
Matter of fact, I'm trying to think of somebody, a major name that they signed that didn't at least earn their keep. AEW's turned a profit on everybody.
The perfect 10, right? He loved me. Has he done anything at AEW?
No, I'm talking about legitimate.
Is he a big name?
He's a chairman.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
No. Whoa, hold up. First off, I've always been a Ty Dillinger fan, and I thought he had some serious future with WWE.
I was just saying, you're about to say potential.
Okay, I don't know
because
why
he wasn't a champion. That's why you're about to say potential.
To me, he's like a Ricochet, a good mid card. Right now, if he was with WWE
that's
right
not
now,
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about CM Punk's.
Well, I get that, but I'm talking about the people that you look at the people that didn't get a deal or got fired from. They're not really succeeding, and the same reasons why they're not here is happening over here. Is what I'm saying.
And I think all those names we listed didn't get fired from WWE.
No. They left because of the same reasons almost. Like,
usually it's because of creative decisions or being able to wrestle less and go home to their families.
Everybody has made, even the failures, and we agree there have been some, could have made, it's a failure in that they could have made way more money than they did, but they didn't. But it's still, CM Punk still made his weight. Christian Cage has done outstanding. Copeland's going to do fine. Sting has done fine. These guys are getting paid beans because they don't need the money. And that's what AEW is going to leverage.
And they get to go home to their family every
Bryan Danielson
week.
has had some great matches. I mean, you've gotten your money's worth. You could easily pay him 6 figures.
Sometimes you say things I just don't understand.
Well, I speak English. So that's not your first language.
Sting, you say they don't need the money. Why do you think had these guys go back there? Why are they still wrestling? Why is Sting still wrestling? Are you telling me Sting doesn't need the money?
No, he does not need the money.
I disagree.
Why? What made
He's
you
there
think?
for the
Why is
love
Ric Flair
of the
there?
business.
For the love of the business?
He might need the money.
Why out of all people is Ric Flair?
Are you forgetting about woo energy? The great investment.
Who's really buying one of those? I haven't even seen them in the stores. Are they in the stores? Have you seen them?
I didn't know they existed.
Exactly. Energy drinks come and go like the wind, okay? No one knows, 1 minute they're promoting one, next minute you never hear about it again.
I'm just saying, if he can invest in something like that.
I'm sorry. Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn. No. Billy Gunn. You're telling me he didn't go to AEW for the money?
Sting's net worth. Sting is an American professional wrestler with a former bodybuilder who has a net worth of $4 million.
Who are we talking about?
Sting.
Oh.
He has a net worth of $4 million, roughly.
He probably owns a house that's worth $3 million and has no money.
Who cares? If you own your house, you don't need a lot of money.
Right.
Now you want to keep living that lifestyle.
That's what it comes out. Here's one for $10 million. 4's on the low end. Here's 8. Here's 8. Here's 10 again. Here's 10 again. This is not a guy that's desperate for money.
And Billy Gunn is in AEW so that his kids can work there. And, I mean, Triple H is running WWE now. You like to talk about Triple H being the boss. You think he wouldn't bring Billy Gunn back?
Billy Gunn,
He
$3
wanted to?
million.
For a backstage role for a producer.
$5 million. These guys are millionaires. They don't need the money. They're doing it for a particular creative reason.
Let's move on.
That's him giving up,
Yep,
just so
he
we're
was getting
clear.
proven wrong too many times.
Raw's slipping a little bit. Ratings down to 1.39 million viewers this past week and a .43 score in the 18 to 49 age group. Not sure.
Another one of their lowest.
Well, they had
ratings.
They had 2 football games on Monday night.
And they had the World Series. One other interesting thing of note, though, related to that. So we talked about how live television is very critical and stuff. This is going to be the lowest viewed World Series like ever. It looks like.
It's
Like
so,
since like before television. Like,
you know, we're in a we're just in a world now where everything's just changing, and you know, I had one trick or treater yesterday, or the other night. No one trick or treating. It's changing. Like everything's changing, right? People can watch the World Series anywhere. I would rather, unless I'm a first off, look at the Texas Rangers. I mean, they're not that they're not that big team in baseball, Texas Rangers. Okay, so I'm pretty sure if the Yankees were in there, or Boston, or Atlanta Braves, or
it's a regional match.
I mean, it'd be the ratings would be. So I think that plays a little bit of part in it. But B, why watch it? We can just watch the clip later. Open your laptop at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, see the highlights.
Bam.
Watch the highlights.
Bam, it's not maybe the last game you watch it, but for the first 3, I don't know how many games they ended up having, 4 or 5. But for the first 2, 3, just watch the highlights.
5.
Unless you're a true diehard baseball, Texas Rangers, and whoever else is in the World Series, okay? I mean, you're watching, but otherwise, you're not. If I'm a Yankee fan, I'm not watching it. I'm not.
Yeah.
If I'm a Boston fan, I don't give a shit. Like, you know.
Yeah, listen to this. Listen to this. So, Game 3 of the World Series pulled away 8.1 million viewers.
That's actually not bad.
Monday Night Football between the Raiders and the Lions, 15.2.
Yeah.
Between the Raiders and the Lions. These are not, high-end teams. So, I mean, it would appear that the viewership is there. It's just not hungry for the same product that it was.
I'll tell you now, if you're telling me if the Yankees weren't in there, it wouldn't be close to 15 million?
The Yankees it would probably be higher than that because the Yankees are
Boston.
I mean, they go to Seattle and there's more Yankee fans in the stands than there are
Let
Seattle
me tell you something.
fans.
Do you know who else was in the World Series? Texas Rangers and who?
It was
Diamondbacks?
Yes, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Diamondbacks. So those 2 teams, the MLB probably saw those 2 came across.
It's a regional battle.
And
That's
they
what I
went,
said. It's a
Jesus,
regional
fuck it,
battle.
this is going to be a horrible.
Yeah,
like,
if
the
you're in
Arizona
Minnesota, you don't
Diamondbacks
give a
and
crap.
the Texas Rangers, no one's watching that.
Yeah.
No one is. I'm sorry. No one's. Those are 2 teams that no one's giving a shit about.
Yeah.
They just don't care.
Yeah, 100%. And that's part of it.
But nonetheless, it still, for sure, definitely took a bit out of Raw's rating. For sure.
Yeah, I think, again, even if it's a regional battle, there's millions of people inside that region that...
I'm actually shocked that Raw did 1.3 with both the World Series and 2 football games going on at the same time. They had 2 Monday night games this week at the same time playing. I
think that's Raw's floor. 1.2, 1.3 is basically their floor.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to comment on this one a little bit more, Matt. We're getting some discontent from inside the AEW locker room regarding
Here
creative.
we go.
He's going to want to comment on it more than me.
Regarding creative decisions.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this a couple months ago or something. Tony Khan tends to wait until the last minute to fully book a show, fully book a story. I mean, he plans out stories. He's been pretty good about planning long-term stories, but as far as final matches and show cards and everything, he does tend to wait to the last minute. And he said in the past, I don't know who's going to end up getting injured or, if someone, like we saw with All In, if someone's not going to be able to make the travel or whatever, for whatever reason. But yeah, it has been irking some of the wrestlers backstage, so...
Not having notice is irking them?
Yeah, not knowing until the last
It's the
minute.
reason why they left WWE, and now it's happening to the AEW.
Well, I mean, it was different in WWE when they were
Still, I mean,
they were standing in Gorilla and then had their match change before
But
they
that's
walked
one
out.
of that's one of the big selling points as to why a lot of people were tired of WWE and left. 'Cause it just was, and now the very few things that AEW sold against is now happening to them, and it's just like,
I don't know, dude. You're only forwarding my point, which is like if you're willing to quit your six-figure lucrative job over the inconvenience of getting your assignment in gorilla position, it's not about the money. Like, there's plenty of young talent that are willing to bite the bullet, work with anybody, no matter how dangerous or unsafe, that are willing to work on no notice whatsoever for a quarter of what you're paying, whoever. So
look, it's never the reason why anyone leaves. It's just the reason what they say to the public. It's their talking point.
I mean, I'm sure it's
no
okay.
one's quitting
Okay.
because they're getting their storyline.
Okay, so then
come on.
Okay,
You're
so
getting
then
paid.
by your standard, we shouldn't even talk about this because it's fake. It's all fake. It's just what the wrestlers are saying. It's not actually real.
I think here's what's happening.
There isn't any actual.
What's
discontent.
happening
They're just looking
is
for something to bitch about.
It's call it what you want. Call it low morale. Call it the pains of the business now. What year is AEW in? Year 6? 5?
Four.
4?
5.
Well, entering. Yeah, they just had their fourth.
It's 5 years. It's starting to Tony Khan, he probably losing some energy. It's starting to get it's the pains of the business, right? I mean, look at me. It's like you're going through the Tony Khan's at every show. Am I wrong on that?
As far as we know,
Every
yeah.
show running everything.
Twice
He's
a week,
another.
yeah.
He's another. Everyone teases Vince McMahon. He's another Vince McMahon. He's everything. He's there. He's doing everything. Everything's going by him. His hands are on everything.
Yeah,
he's
technically
getting.
it is only 2 days a week. But
He's getting tired. I think everyone. I think it's the ratings aren't that good. People are getting injured. Some people are. I think the morale overall is down, and when that happens, everything hits at once. People start to get unhappy. The bookings, they're not on the show. There's a lot of wrestlers on AEW right now that aren't getting time, or they're getting little time. People are starting to get upset. It's the pains. You're having the people that signed up. Look, when AEW launched, they had all the great selling points, all the great. Okay, and now that they've been competing and they're signing more, now some of the reasons why some of those guys weren't happy over here, it's starting to happen over here. And now they're starting to realize that, you know what? The grass isn't always greener over here than what it was over there. And I think that's what you're starting to see with a lot of them, is that I wasn't getting time there. I was getting time a lot over here, but now that we're signing more people, and I'm not getting time anymore. And I think you're starting to see some discontent overall. I think it's the pains of it's the pain. It's starting to, and it seems like it continues.
Is the only guy that I can think of that meets that standard. So, I mean, it seems like there's a real balance to the talent pool right now. Can you think of any? Wardlow's the only guy that I can think of that hasn't gotten much attention.
Yeah, and he just got brought back a couple weeks ago. He's starting to get a little story. I'd say, the women's division in general could use more time. I would have said Miro and Andrade, but they're starting to get some stories again on Collision.
So I don't.
It's the small guys that are complaining. It's even none of the big guys.
I don't even know if the small guys are complaining because they're getting more TV time than they
All
would
it
be
takes is
anywhere
one
else.
not to be happy for that type of article to go out.
I mean, unless it's a guy like Swerve but he's been getting more
been
time.
In top spots.
He's been getting more time than he deserves. I mean, I don't know.
I just
don't
think
know.
you're starting to get the pains of a wrestling promotion. I
I
think it's starting to kick it.
Having
They've had
it all function through Tony Khan is a problem. He needs to bring
needs
JR
to delegate,
backstage
yeah.
or somebody. He needs to have some.
He's trying to be
trusted person.
Vince. He's really trying to be Vince.
If it's guys like Brian Pillman Jr., who just left and went to NXT and is now starting getting TV on NXT,
Even Vince
that I can see, yeah.
had Jim Ross as the head of talent,
Yeah.
and he would manage the wrestlers, and he did an outstanding job. You have to have somebody that can help you with some key functionality.
I think it's Christopher Daniels. I think he's head of talent relations in AEW.
Something like that.
And
some similar
He
role.
helps produce the shows too. He sits in Gorilla with Tony Khan. So
He's a guy like that. I mean, you really need to expand it out. But I don't know. I don't think there's any legitimacy to it. I think it's just dirt sheet, rumor mills. Maybe Brock Anderson said something because he just got let go or whatever.
kick them when they're down, and that's what's happening.
I don't know.
Speaking of Brock Anderson, we speculated last week when we announced that he was gone if Arn Anderson was still with the.
Yeah.
I think it was the next day, right after the show aired last week, that it was announced that he was gone from the company too.
But he left months before. It said. Arn said he left in. It was like he left in August.
Yeah, Brock hasn't been on TV
Yeah.
So I think Arn's been gone too, but I think it just came out.
I don't think Brock had been on TV since like June or something. It's been a long time since they've used him. So, Ronda Rousey getting back inside a wrestling ring at the.
She leaves WWE after SummerSlam as a free agent, apparently.
See, this is what I'm saying. Ronda Rousey doesn't need the money, but she kind of likes wrestling, and it's a chance to make a few bucks, and she can go wrestle at Lucha Vavoom in LA, a burlesque professional wrestling show.
Lucha Libre.
Sorry, Lucha
and
Burlesque. You know, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's not, for these people, it's not about the money. These people are way up here. They make decisions they want because of passions and wants, wills, wishes, and desires.
She probably knew somebody doing a favor.
Maybe.
Yeah, Marina Shafir.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was friends with. She
I
was
saw
in the
this
match.
article and I was just like, whatever. What Ronda Rousey, she's been one of the biggest disappointments in my eyes. I was like, I didn't even care when I read this article. Like, whatever. Go wrestle somewhere else.
Why they did the article is because there was speculation that she was done with wrestling. She wasn't happy with WWE and whatever else. She was going to go back to UFC. That was a rumor floating around.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
They did everything wrong with Ronda Rousey. They really did everything wrong. She needs to go down the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar road with Paul Heyman.
The WrestleMania moment with The Rock
That was
and
her.
Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
her
that
best.
was the only thing they did right with her.
Her music coming out was horrible. Everything
Even the
was bad about it.
Even
Everything.
the first match with Kurt Angle and Triple H and Stephanie, that was a good match.
Yep.
But after that, it kind of
Her own. If you go back and you watch her debut, it is painful to watch. I'm saying when she comes out to the
her
ring,
first singles.
when she comes out and
Yeah,
she
sure.
kind of has it is painful to watch. Like the music at all doesn't relate to what she's doing. The look on her face looks horrible. She's laughing half the time. Her laughing looks dumb. Like you really like it is just it's painful to watch. And I think that she never went over.
No, she never got over.
She never no.
AEW Fight Forever Season 2 has been announced. So the glitch game that seemed to flop pretty bad is coming out. In addition, they announced a huge series of patch notes for Season 1, 1.07, and the list goes on.
When did the first game come out?
Just a few months ago.
I said, why they
Was it
announcing
summer?
another one? Like,
It was like over the
they
summer.
got they just got way. He has way too much stuff going on. Games come out yearly, not monthly or not every 3 months. They need to wait another year. See, they rushed the first one and it came out bad.
They
did.
didn't rush it. They were working on it since before the.
They just didn't know what the hell they
pandemic.
were doing.
Who developed?
They started working on it in like
They have their
2019,
own
2020.
development.
Problem right there. Get someone else to do
They
it.
were doing it with Ukes.
Are you sure it was you?
Yeah, Ukes was the
It's AEW
designer.
Frightful, right?
Fight Forever.
Oh, Fight Forever.
Fight Forever. But these patch notes, I'm scrolling through them, and there's like 50.
Yeah, there was a lot of
maybe
glitches to it.
80. So now it took them too long to fix them.
Do you want to
Yes.
actually buy the game?
I didn't buy the game.
I don't have any new consoles. I hardly ever play any games.
It's funny. I was actually looking at playing.
It was just on sale on Steam. I almost got it. It was like $40
I was
on
trying to
Steam.
play W2K23 last night. You know what we got to do? We get great content. Is we got to do general manager mode. We each take seriously. We each take
Yeah,
a show,
I would
and,
like to do that.
and I'm going to beat your episode in ratings. I'm going to be. You can
God,
sign.
no.
We could do our own draft. I'm dead serious. We got to do like a stream of that.
I'd be willing to play.
All of mine are going to be creator wrestlers.
I think you can have them. You can have those in there. Who made the game? Ukes developers.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic is the one publisher. So I mean, they had some. I don't know.
They had some good production companies involved in it.
Okay,
It's just-
unfortunately, the companies that WWE fired are these ones. I'm just saying they fired them because their games weren't. They weren't. And then they went to 2K, and now 2K20, 2K21, 22, 23 have been the best-selling
Which
WWE
one,
games.
well, what was the 2K that was all glitchy?
Probably the first one.
No, it was just within the last year or two. It was really, really bad.
22 was good, and 2023 has outstanding reviews.
That must have been 21.
Maybe
'cause
21.
It was really bad. It was all kinds of.
No, they've been with 2K for a while. It might be 2019, 2K19.
No, it wasn't that long.
No?
I'm positive.
Dralistico has signed a contract with AEW. Lucha guy, very talented. Probably going to keep him in the mid card as a filler. like a lot of the Lucha guys are doing.
Oh,
in
he
AEW.
joined. Yeah, he joined L'Affection and Gobernable
Yep.
with his brother Rouge.
But very talented, very good. Should make for interesting stuff.
They just
They have enough
returned on Collision.
fillers.
Here's
It's the same argument over and over and over. They got enough fillers. Why are they signing more?
not when I say filler, I mean like someone gets injured and you need somebody.
But
like
still, they
there.
got enough. Stop signing. Worry about what you have now. You have a good roster. Use them. Don't see. I think Tony Khan just needs to sign everybody. I really think he's just trying to sign anyone that he can find. He's signing.
I don't think he's as strategic with his signings as he should be, but I don't think he's just willy-nilly signing.
No, I think he will. I think anyone.
I
will
don't think
sign.
he's just like,
That's-
person that can be signed. I'm going to sign them.
That's
Goldberg
why-
walked in tomorrow. He's not signing Goldberg.
Of course he does.
Now,
Goldberg.
what's going to happen to all the people you just signed a minute ago
Bro.
after you signed Goldberg?
Goldberg is a fucking draw.
I get that.
Everybody would sign Goldberg. WWE would sign Goldberg. Anybody would sign Goldberg. That's a terrible example.
Ricochet leaves. His contract's up.
You should sign Ricochet.
But what are you
draw.
doing? Everyone else you just signed. This
He's
is
a
the problem
draw.
with AEW now.
No,
that he's
no,
signing
no,
so many,
no,
he's
no,
alienating people. It's the pains of the business. He's now at the point now where
Yes.
he has comings and goings, and people are getting upset.
No, it's
We're
not.
beating the dead horse
We already
with this.
talked about it. There's plenty of room on the roster. Here's
He
an
has
interesting
started
one.
to let people go.
So it has been announced that Mr. Rob Van Dam and
God.
Matt Riddle will be wrestling.
Let me guess, AEW?
They've just been announced. No, they'll be wrestling on an indie promotion scheduled for March 9th.
They're wrestling each other, or they're both on that
They
show.
are wrestling each other. It looks like Big Time Wrestling is going to have them for the Reunion 3 at the OU Shoemaker Center in Ohio. Interesting to see Riddle back in the ring with Rob
No.
Van Dam.
No.
We'll see if there's a
Yeah, I don't really
No.
care about.
we'll see
either
if there's
one
a
of them,
bong
so-
hit before the match begins.
Is anyone
they're
really?
gonna be
I mean,
so
honestly,
high.
is anyone really watching that match? I mean, anyone really gonna go buy that? I'm
Yeah,
assuming you have to
draw.
buy.
Yeah,
you have to
Rob-
buy that pay-per-view, right?
No,
We-
no. It's a lie.
We talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Rob Van Dam is a draw. People love him.
I cannot stand Robin.
Yeah, I don't like him either, but the majority of
He
people
is
love him.
so overrated. It is
He's
annoying.
He's right up there with Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
They're
All
almost
right,
on the same level.
Two more topics before we move on to the main event. Ric Flair signs multi-year contract with AEW. Flair's Woo! Energy has also been named the official energy drink of AEW. Might be on air, might be doing some
On
kind
the
of
commentary table.
personality thing. Maybe on commentary. I
I
have a
meant
hard
the
time.
energy drink, not.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, the energy drink's going to be all over the place. I'm sure there'll be all kinds of advertising associated with it. But, I mean, I don't think... Let me ask you this. He's not wrestling. Let's just say the contract stipulates. You're not wrestling. You're not allowed to wrestle. All you can do is support backstage, maybe be a part of certain storylines, manage, whatever they're calling it, because they're not calling it managing. They're calling it training or something. I don't remember what they're calling it now.
Oh, unless he comes out as Andrade's manager or something else.
So, is it a good thing? Assuming he's not going to be in the ring taking bumps and
What
wrestling.
good comes from this?
What bad comes from it?
What bad?
Yeah.
No one wants to hear Ric Flair at all. I mean, they don't. First of all, I better never hear him on the mic. I'm immediately turning it off. Okay. Second, he can't do anything in the ring.
You though.
You want to hear Ric Flair over and over and over again throughout the whole
He
episode?
is still just like Rob Van Dam. People
You
still
can't
love
control
him.
him. He says whatever he wants to say. There comes
After
a point.
60 years, he has that right.
There comes a point. No, there's no good.
So you've listed nothing bad that could come from this.
First off,
Just want to be clear. I
First
asked
off,
for something
no,
bad.
first
You
off,
came up with
he
nothing.
did not sign this contract just to sit backstage. There's definitely some kind of match here. And by the way, when it finally happens and some kind of match gets revealed, we're gonna do like a big thing here.
You
where-
become the new Divas champion.
We're gonna have a big thing where you guys were all like, "Oh, he's never gonna write. He's not." He's definitely trying to finagle one more match. I don't know with who. He should not at all be wrestling. Him signing any type of deal with AEW is for, especially multi-year. There's got to be a match in there somewhere. Sorry, why is Ric Flair gonna be in the back?
For the
Why?
record, I never said never.
Steve, Okay, nothing good comes from Ric Flair signing a multi-year. Again, it's Tony Khan signing everyone he can possibly sign, and that's going at some point, if it's not already happening, it's going to start backfiring on him, and it's already. He's just like signing. Matt, go over there. He'll sign you. I mean, just go over there. Hey, he'll sign. I mean, I really think he's just signing everybody. It's ridiculous. Tell me what's good about signing. No, you tell me what's good about signing Ric Flair.
He's a draw. That's what's good about it. He's a draw. And frankly, what they need people that can put butts in seats outside of their favorite outside of Florida, basically, because it used to be Chicago, but now that CM Punk's gone, they're going to struggle there. So they need, when they go to North Carolina, they need somebody that can fill the stadium.
What about Edge?
Ric Flair can do it. When they
MJF.
When they go to Canada,
Adam Page.
when they go to Long Island.
All these other ones that he signed, they're not filling seats for him?
I mean, MJF puts butts in seats for sure.
Yeah.
So now your solution to filling seats is Ric Flair?
Now your solution to filling seats is getting talent people like? What a shame! What a sellout!
People, I'm sorry.
I can't believe you run a business. I'm astounded.
Ric Flair is not as popular.
This is a monument to your incredible ability. I have no idea. Yes, they're signing talent that people like, and that's how they're going to sell tickets. What a revolutionary idea in the world of
He's
professional
signing the
wrestling.
wrong talent.
Who should he be signing instead?
Nobody. Use who you have.
Who?
You build the people who you have.
Who do they have that sells tickets like Ric Flair in North Carolina? That they can get for
How many shows they have? How many shows they have in North Carolina?
They just had a show in North Carolina.
When's the next show? When's their next show?
They just had 2 shows in North Carolina.
When's their next show? So I'm gonna sign Ric Flair to a multi-year deal. I'm gonna sign Ric Flair to a multi-year deal for the 3 shows I have in North Carolina all year.
Memphis. He fills Louisville. He fills everywhere in the South.
This right here is the problem with AEW. That they're trying to they're alienating everybody else.
Who?
No? Why do you think? Everybody.
Name
the whole
somebody
roster.
that they're alienating. Name.
The
Pick
whole
a name.
roster.
Pick a name.
I don't need to.
Pick a name.
Any of them.
Because you can't, because it doesn't alienate anybody. Pick a name then.
The whole roster, Jeremy.
Who?
The
Pick
whole
one.
roster.
Who?
It doesn't matter.
Name one.
Sammy Guevara.
Because you can't. Sammy Guevara. The guy that they should release.
They should release him.
There you go.
He can actually go over there and do something with WWE.
So we're going to alienate a guy that should leave anyways. That's what we're agreed upon?
Jeremy, I don't need to give specific names.
Because you can't. That's why you don't need to.
I am saying the entire roster is getting alienated by adding Ric Flair because to fill seats?
What space is he taking up that someone else is filling? What are you talking about?
Ric Flair isn't your solution.
What are you... Solution to what? Putting butts in seats?
You just said they hired Ric Flair to put butts in seats.
Yes, and they will, because Ric Flair is there. They will.
No, they're not.
Yes,
Nobody wants to watch Ric Flair anymore. I'm sorry. I used to like Ric Flair back in the day, too. I'm not watching wrestling anymore to see Ric Flair. I don't want to see him. It's not. He is not at all what he used to be. And it's ruining what he used to be, watching him trying to get into the ring. He couldn't even get into the ropes last week. They had to cut the camera away to help him get into the ring. Why do we want to watch that? Nobody does. Nobody wants to watch that. I don't.
Why are you incapable of understanding that someone might sign a contract to receive somebody's services outside of wrestling? It's like unless they're willing to take a bump in the ring.
You are answering everything I've been saying about AEW. Is that Tony Khan is alienating and disrespecting everybody.
Still can't name somebody.
Want me pull up the whole AEW roster and I'll just name them all?
I will have an answer for every single one of those.
Any minute that is given to Ric Flair in the ring is a minute taken away from all the other guys that have been wrestling for years at AEW and trying to build a promotion. It's completely wrong. It's why they're failing. It's why they have 800,000 viewers and less every week. Because they're signing the wrong people.
Who should they have, Matt?
Does he not understand when I say the whole roster? I don't need to give names. The entire roster.
Maybe it's because he doesn't know the names
That's
of anybody else
very
on
well.
the roster.
I don't know 85% of the AEW's roster. I said, you want me to pull it up and read them all off to you? Because it's all of them. It's all of them. It's every single one of them.
He will take time from nobody.
Spend the money on something else than
not,
Ric Flair in a multi-year deal.
They're spending nothing on him. A drop in the bucket.
I know he's in disagreements. This is always a handicap match in here. It's always 2v1 when it comes to AEW. But
you'll defend any wrong position. I give you credit.
Matt, tell me, is there really many? I'm sure not just the positive. Oh, it's Ric Flair. What are the positives that Ric Flair signing a multi-year deal is really going to accomplish for AEW?
It will bring over the casual audience that WWE clings to. The casual audience does not go to AEW to see a Kenny Omega or an MJF. They want to see a Ric Flair or an Edge or a Christian Cage. And then when they happen to be there for those names and then they see a Kenny Omega or a Young Bucks, then maybe, hey, this is kind of cool. Maybe I should start watching this more. That's what they're trying to do by bringing in Ric Flair.
This transitions nicely, actually, into my last topic.
Well, hang on. Just so we know, Ric Flair hasn't been on WWE television in 2 years. He's not. They're not bringing over like. It's not like Ric Flair was just there a month ago and people are watching him. He hasn't been on. There's a reason why he hasn't been on TV in WWE either. Like, there's nothing. He's out of tone with what people. He's out of touch.
But every time he is there, the crowd pops for him.
For the one time, like you said, you talk about returns. The first returns always are great, right? They're gonna be tired of Ric Flair in a month.
And he wasn't on this week's episode.
This isn't a return.
He's not going to be there every single week.
This isn't a return. That's not the angle that they're working.
I don't know what they're angling, and I want nothing to do with it. I'm retired from talking. I'm going to do what Ric Flair can, and I'm going to retire from talking about Ric Flair. And it's just so like...
This just turned into a two-man booth.
Yeah, that's all right. So, related to this, Vince Russo tweeted late last night after, and I don't know what your feelings are on Vince Russo, but I'm just going to read the tweet that he shared after Dynamite went off the air. This is the tweet. Quote, "I'm sorry, man. I just watched about 30 minutes of AEW Dynamite. What I learned during those 30 minutes was this. The only people who will watch the show are the people who are already watching it. The overall presentation of this show will draw 0 new fans. It 100% insults the intelligence of the casual television viewing audience. Yup, my opinion." Closed.
Is this what you're saving to the end?
So this, I think, transitions nicely into your comments to me about the dreaded 5 minutes of AEW Dynamite that you had
let me
to
add some
endure.
context to it. Okay? I got done watching the show
really
last.
bored.
I got done watching the show last night. I really couldn't find anything on, so I went through and I pulled up, and Dynamite came up. And I go, and I looked. I go, they're still on. I looked. It was 9:55. Like, you know what? Because everything good always happens the last 5 minutes. I go, I'm gonna watch the last 5 minutes of Dynamite and see what I see, and I told you, I texted. I said I'm gonna go in open-minded, and the minute I walked in there, I saw like 8 people flying all over the place.
Yeah, it
was an 8-man tag match. Billy Gunn, who should have retired 20 years ago, is in there doing some kind of chop moves, and I'm not gonna lie, he kind of seemed to get around pretty good. He was hopping through the ropes.
Dude, he's in amazing shape. And
but
yesterday
nonetheless,
was his
I don't want to watch Billy Gunn.
Happy birthday, Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn's
60 years old.
flea-flopping around, and honestly, I did not. And again, I don't know the project. I don't know the content there that well. So a lot of them, I didn't even know who they were. Okay.
The 2 kids he was facing were his sons.
Right. Well, I knew that part. I figured that part.
Guns.
Wait. Who was facing? He was facing his own kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it just was just like it wasn't good. I get what. First off, Vince Russo is like way out there. Like no one knows what to say about Vince Russo. He's in La La Land half the time. But
Interesting how you agree with him on this one.
But no. I don't agree with him. The way the product is being, I can't find the words to say it. But the product, maybe they're trying to do it different than WWE. Maybe that's what it is. But when you watch just the way the cameras are working and just the motions of in the ring, it's completely different wrestling. It's complete. If you watch the main event on Raw, I don't know who it was. But if you watch the main event on Raw and you watch just the whole way it's done, it's just
produced very different.
It's very different. I don't have the words. I can't say it's bad because I don't think I'm used to it. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but there was a few like camera, like, 1 minute staring at some guy's crotch, and then the next minute the camera's looking at some guy's ass. I mean, there's a lot of this, like, I'm like, what's going on here? And the guy's ass, like, right in the middle of the screen, like, taking up the whole screen. There's a lot. It is a little choppy to say. And MJF, I don't know if you saw, but the minute I watched, he got tagged in, and he fumbled through. He almost fell to the mat.
You came in. Was it the hot
It was
tag,
the hot
right?
tag,
You're talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah, and everyone's rooting for him. They're waiting. He's dying to get the classic moment back in the day where the face is always the last one to get into the ring. He's trying, and he finally gets in. And he fumbles over and they quick cut away, but he fumbles, almost goes to the ground. Then he gets up and he does this all. I don't know if I like MJF. I really can't. I like his attitude. I like his image. I don't know how good of a wrestler he really is. Maybe
he's a very good wrestler.
I haven't watched enough of it, but it was. I don't know. It was very like.
Do you think there's any credence to what Russo is saying about how it doesn't appeal to a wide enough audience to grow the audience?
I think they have a problem. I don't know I can't come up with the words to say what that problem is or how to fix it. I really can't. But watching that episode, because I don't think they want to be WWE. I don't think they want to be that.
I think there's some truth to that.
And I'm not saying that's the answer the way WWE's doing it. But what I'm saying is, watching what I watched, it was just very chaotic. It was very and sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's good when there's a lot of shit going on. It didn't feel like good product. It felt like it could be done better. And I don't know what the answer to that is.
AEW has always prided themselves on being the alternative to
exactly.
WWE. So they are going to do things differently. And we've talked about before, they appeal more to the hardcore fan than the casual fan like WWE. But about the production, though, my fiance is not a wrestling fan. She only started watching it after she moved in with me. And she's watched AEW and WWE. She does not like WWE because she thinks it's overproduced. She likes much more how the camera angles and everything in AEW works. She likes that the wrestlers play to the crowd more, interact with their fans and everything. She likes all that much better than WWE.
That's interesting. It's more reality-based television.
Exactly.
Here's off of that statement. I like the way WWE product is produced. I don't like the way the talent does it. I like the way the talent does at AEW. Like Billy Gunn. You know what the fuck he's done for you? Like, there's realness to that. Like, he said that. Like, you could hear him in the like. There's no. It's not acting. It's not following.
You can tell they're not being fed lines.
It's not. It's not following a word by word script. So there's something I like. That's what I do like about AEW. Is that it's like they're really like it's out there. Like they're really like Billy Gunn was like really what the fuck he's done for you. Like you yelling at MJF and this. And that. When you watch WWE, it's two staged. That said, I think if AEW went down that road, but added in the way WWE produces it with camera, and I think it could be a good product. That'd be my. I think I don't like WWE for that reason, and I don't like AEW for that reason. But I think if you put them together, I think it could be an excellent product.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits to your point is the greatest strength is simultaneously WWE's greatest weakness. Yeah. So it's overproduced, but that allows you to put the cameras in just the right spot to know where every spot is, and you've got instant replays, and you've got commentary being fed lines left and right.
AEW misses big moves sometimes.
They miss big moves quite a bit, actually. Yeah, it's one of my biggest criticisms is, you get the 5-second ass shot instead of missing the hot tag that's happening across the ring.
It was a few times where, I was looking at the camera, and the guy, literally, the guy's ass is taking up the whole screen. Yep. And it was there for, 3 seconds. I'm like, what's going on here?
That's legitimate criticism. I'm just not sure, without scripting it more, I don't know how you avoid that.
But I do like the kind of the unscripted, I do like that. I think WWE needs to do a little bit more of that, and I also think AEW needs to do a little bit more of the way WWE does it. So I think they both can.
A great opportunity for a brand split. You could have one that's a little more raw, one might say, versus one that's maybe a little bit more polished. That's just my idea. Really quickly, running out of time, let's talk about Crown Jewel. Really quickly, let's just run through it. Let me know which match you guys are most interested in. We've got the World Heavyweight Championship, which is Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. We've got a Fatal 5-Way Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax. We've got the U.S. Championship on the line, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. We got the WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest, John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, and on the kickoff show, Sami Zayn versus JD.
You forgot the Undisputed match.
And, I'm sorry, yes, the Undisputed match, Roman Reigns and LA Knight. I'm kind of looking forward to the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Seth versus Drew, that should be a good match.
I think that's going to be a really good match.
I do think he loses the title.
You think
And the
he's gonna
Divas title
drop
is going to
the
be on the line.
If you know what, I think if he's gonna drop it, Drew McIntyre is the right guy to drop it. To.
Really?
You got to look what's going on backstage, gentlemen.
think
Drew
he's the right
McIntyre's
guy.
up for a renewal. They're not done yet. So let's make this guy happy by
He
giving
got
him
an
the
extension
title.
for his injury. I thought his contract.
And they
was
haven't
up.
signed anything. They're still not agreeing on terms. They're gonna give Drew McIntyre the belt to make him. The backstage is playing into that.
I think Ray drops the belt to Logan Paul.
Oh, for sure. And I said ding because this is a match I'm looking for. And you guys are gonna hate what I'm about to say, but I cannot wait for Logan Paul to win the belt and start to be on TV more. 'Cause I think it's gonna be great.
Okay, so let me ask you. This
I like
question.
his character.
What if he isn't on television much more?
Then why do it?
For the same reason you let Roman Reigns
Exactly.
go months without being
Right.
on television.
That's the problem. WWE can be managed so.
What brand is the U.S. title on?
SmackDown.
So they're going to have two champions not on TV every week?
I mean, SmackDown seems to hold its own. 2.5
And they don't,
million,
and they don't
2.7
have the
million
tag
without it.
champs either. So
You
they're going to
also-
have no champions on SmackDown.
You also have, one thing at a time here. But first of all, I don't think you need it. You don't need the championships to carry it, to carry the brand. They're going to do a redraft anyways, so all this might be moot in a month because they're basically going to do a redraft. They've already talked about that.
The only thing you think of is if someone interferes and costs Logan Paul the match.
And Judgment Day is the greatest draw, and they're everywhere. I mean, let's be honest. Whether Rey Mysterio holds the title or Logan Paul, who's going to draw? Who's going to be a better draw? Logan Paul is going to be a better draw than Rey Mysterio holding the title
Yeah. They're setting
when
up.
he shows up.
They're setting up. What is it? November. They're getting ready for WrestleMania. Then Logan Paul's going to walk into WrestleMania
Usually
as
after,
a champ.
usually
They're
it's
starting a little bit early.
Royal Rumbles
which,
start.
which tells me they have a little bit more to the Logan Paul story than they're starting it a little bit early. I mean, by the time maybe he takes a week off. It's going to be December before you know it.
Well, the story come WrestleMania is not going to be Logan Paul though.
I think Logan Paul walks in WrestleMania as a United States champion.
Oh, sure. I just mean that's not going to be the WrestleMania story. The story is going to be Cody.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is they're starting to get Logan Paul his WrestleMania. He's clearly going to fight someone at WrestleMania for the belt. So they're starting that process now. Maybe they have Logan Paul for a few more dates. They really haven't utilized him much. I mean, he has not been at all really on TV this year, besides a few here and there's. So maybe they have a lot of dates saved up to use. I mean, you don't know what his contract states. Maybe he's got to be on 10 televised episodes. You don't know.
He's wrestled on a weeknight show. He's come out and done some promos.
So maybe now WWE's utilizing what they have for reserved dates, and he's gonna be on every episode. You don't know. I mean, at the end of the year, maybe he has 8 episodes a year, and here's your last 8. November, December.
LA Knight's getting squashed again too. That's unfortunate. It looked like they were going to kind of do something with him, but.
Could you imagine? Just what's going to like the bizarro world for a minute, where things don't really have the unreality world. What would you be shocked if LA Knight just randomly won this match and walked out champion? Would that not be a shock across the entire?
If I was LA Knight, I'd slip like $100 to the ref and be like.
But what would be your statement?
Saudi screw job.
But what would be your statement walking in here the next episode?
If
LA Knight won?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what would that show?
Yeah.
What does that show? Like they're putting their faith in he's the future?
I would hope that's what that would
Chaos?
The only reason why I would do that would be to write, because, so I didn't bring it up, but there have been a lot of stories written in the last couple of weeks about how the Bloodline is no longer the hot storyline. How Judgment Day is really taken over, which is 100%.
I love the
Everyone's
Judgment Day. I
tired of
watched
Roman.
them. I love the Judgment Day.
And so, if you want to write a redemption arc for Roman, an amazing redemption arc that I wrote a few weeks ago, that of course WWE didn't follow. But if you want to write a redemption arc, he has to have a fall from grace. And if he drops the title, if he slips on the mat, if he, gets injured in the match and drops the belt, now you have a hero's journey where he has to go back to achieve.
Jey
Maybe
Uso
he
makes him
loses.
lose it.
Yeah, he loses his seat at the head of the table, and now you have a hero's journey where he can venture back and earn back the respect and then the dignity and then maybe getting the head of the table back, and now you can get another year or two out of that Bloodline storyline. Maybe he triumphantly reunites with the Usos in a year or two. You can really kind of leverage that. That would be the way I think.
A crown jewel is not the spot, but I do think a good way of Roman Reigns losing the title is it for...
I wouldn't give it tonight, though. I'd give it to Rollins or one of those guys.
Cody Rhodes, probably.
Yeah, but it's too early. You want to save that for WrestleMania.
Do you?
So, yeah, that's a WrestleMania moment. You don't have Cody Rhodes walk into WrestleMania 40 the champion. Unless you're going to have him heel turn or something.
So what happens when Cody Rhodes doesn't win the title this year?
He goes back to AEW.
If Cody Rhodes doesn't win the title this year, that's going to really piss off a lot of fans. I mean, think about how much it pissed them off last year. And
I just don't see a good storyline for the finish out at Roman Reigns. I really don't. I think they just got this something that started out great. They just don't have a conclusion for it. They don't know how to do it.
I mean, the story should be the Bloodline completely imploding and he going into the match by himself.
Like I said, you need to hit the reset button with him. You have him lose in an epic battle. Then he loses his seat at the head of the table. And then you have him take 2 or 3 months off, triumphant return, journey back to glory.
Because there definitely 100% needs to be a match with The Rock. I just don't know how you fit that in.
You could fit it in anywhere you want. I mean, you could have The Rock be the one that strips him and then come back a year later and he beats The Rock. And
That could be he could be the one that interferes in the WrestleMania match. But you don't want to take away from Cody winning it that way either.
No, it's got to be clean.
So
It
I
has to
just
come
don't know.
after.
I just don't know the Roman Reigns. I think they're at a very
dusty finish.
they have a very, very bad thing going with Roman Reigns that they have to figure out. I just don't know the easy solution for it. I don't know.
Anyways, that is a long show. We hope you enjoyed it. I know we did. Please check us out, social media. Wrestle with Biz, Wrestling with the Business on Facebook. Drop us a line below. Let us know what match are you most looking forward to. And you keep watching. We'll keep wrestling with the business.
Oh, did I tell you this guy wants the belt on the line now for Crown Jewel?
Of course he does.
I was going to bring it up when we got to that subject in a little bit.